Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 8. And excuse me, as I said in my email, week 8 is an abbreviated week. So your discussion post is due by this Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. and you do not need to respond to any of your classmates. Your assignment, which is leveraging the LMS Google Classroom, that's going to be due on Friday at 11:59 p.m. So just wanted to make that clear. I also indicate that in the announcements as well. Looking through this week, it's pretty sparse. But in terms of the discussion, this is now your chance to do something really powerful. You've done the same 4 assignments for 4 different learning management systems. So as a scientist, I love this because we had a control variable, the only independent variable being the different learning management systems. And now it's time for the dependent variable. What was your response to them? If you could change the one you currently work with. I know, Max, you work with Schoology. Other people, I believe Lisa has experience with Google Classroom. I know, Lynn, you mentioned that you're struggling right now and enjoyed Haiku more. Some people are talking about Edmodo being their favorite. So if you could do it all over again, what would you do? And that's to say that I just wanted to close here by saying, this is my first time ever at Concordia. Although I've never talked to any of you face to face, I feel like I got to know you from your responses. And I just really appreciate your warm comments and prompt responses to any time I've needed to communicate with you. So thank you so much. Teaching is really everything to me. And since this class was about e-learning, but specifically just about educational technology in general, I want to leave you with a model that I think is really powerful. And it's one I'm sure you've seen before, and that is the TPACK model. TPACK stands for Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge, and it comes out of this construct called pedagogical content knowledge. And pedagogical content knowledge is really that idea that the longer you've been teaching a subject, the more pedagogical content knowledge you develop. For example, the first time I ever taught chemistry, I knew a lot about chemistry. There's my wife. I had a huge content knowledge about chemistry. But the moves in terms of how to teach chemistry, what would happen in specific circumstances when specific questions arose, I didn't. Now, 15 years later, I do. I know what to predict. I know how to pivot and shift and change activities based on how students at the high school level, specifically sophomores, are going to respond to chemistry. That's my pedagogical knowledge of chemistry. So you see here this overlap between content, my knowledge of chemistry, and pedagogy, my knowledge of how to teach chemistry, is really strong. For some of you, this might be kind of right here in the middle. Technological pedagogical content knowledge has to do with our awareness of the types of technologies that we can leverage to not only teach our subject well, the pedagogy, but also interact with the content of that subject better. So if I'm teaching chemistry and I need to pivot and make a change and leverage a piece of technology, I know that, for example, Google Forms works really well for me in collecting data. And because of that, the learning management system that I choose to use is Google Classroom. And that's because it interacts so well with things that I can leverage as a chemistry teacher. So that's my technological pedagogical content knowledge. If I chose Edmodo because it looks more like Facebook, or Canvas because I feel it works really well for collecting data or having online conversations, I would not be overlapping that well with my content. Okay? So it's not just about what works well. It's what works well for you in your content and also given your authentic teaching strategies. So Max, I know you do a lot of things in music, right? And you know music really well, right? So what kind of technologies overlap well with how you teach music and the content of music? And when you really figure that out, when you find this sweet spot where the content you love teaching, how you love teaching it, and the technology that works well while you're teaching it overlap, you're really teaching from, as Parker Palmer would say, from who you are. So I hope this has been a great semester for you, and I look forward to reading your Google Classroom responses. Thanks.